to full and complete recovery, and as well, ultimately, being willing to develop a relationship with your body-mind system. That's what this course is all about. So I'm going to use some terms in this course that you may not be familiar with, just as a disclaimer. For example, I will ask you at times to tune in to the nature of your injury or to the frequency of sensations around it. Now, understand that these are nothing more than terms of convenience that are meant to talk to the nature of your individual experience. The words themselves don't really matter. These are fingers pointing. Don't focus on the finger. What they point to is what matters. What your actual, personal, direct experience is. Now, any injury has a particular story around it, and most of it, if not all of it, is written in your body. In other words, there's a frequency or set of psycho-emotional feelings tied into your body. And as you explore the body in all its miraculous variety and depth, you'll have an opportunity to grow as a conscious being far beyond your expectations. And it's different for everybody. Some people find their senses expanding a little bit more. Some people find their mind freed up. Now, the important thing is that you allow yourself to be aware of what's going inside so as to work with the injury as you work with the pain. And so you can let the mental and emotional baggage around your injury, your experience and your memories of it, fall away. And this will happen quite naturally as you reprogram your system, just over time. Just let it happen. It's a process. Now, we won't go too much into the mechanics of all this in the series. You don't need to grok the intricacies of how psycho-emotional conditioning is stored in the body-mind to get the benefits of yoga. The reconditioning happens in the background. This is what happens when people say, I healed myself through yoga. We're just making this a little bit more conscious. So we're going to start off with a little anatomy and then some simple exercises for self-practice. Again, thank you, my friend, very much for caring about yourself, for caring about your life, for putting yourself into this, being all in. The first kind of mental image I want you to create is the body as a sort of observatory, with the spine as a central part of your body-mind system, which is itself the vehicle through which you perceive reality. So if you think of the body like a telescope through which the world is perceived by an astronomer, consider yourself to be the awareness that perceives. Again, this is a model. This is just a map. Map's not the territory. Remember, it really, really helps to have your telescope, your working body in optimum condition if you want to, see the cosmos. So because this is a course focused on dealing with the root of pain and developing a working relationship with our mental emotional system, with all its complex interrelationships, we must know structurally how the spine works. So the spine is the central part of your body-mind system. Even the jargon we use to talk about the body refers to how important it is. It's not called the central nervous system for nothing. Now, the spine can move in any of 5 ways. This is any movement in the body, really. This is just a good example. So the spine can contract, it can expand, it can rotate, it can flex, and it can do torsion. Now, why is this important for us to know? It's because everyone's spine is a little different. And because as you continue to work with your body, instead of against it, you will notice that different movements are associated with different emotional frequencies. Now, this is a bit of a subtle point that might not make sense right now, but don't worry, it doesn't connect quite yet. Direct experience will make it clear. So remember the feeling of a smile, or perhaps even laughter that you shared with somebody close. You can call it up in your mind. You can feel that emotion, that state once more. And it was an expansive feeling. And then remember the surge of, let's say anger that came up when someone lied or betrayed you or something went wrong. And, in the same way, we can twist the truth to fit our own narratives. There are contracting emotions. There's positive and contracting emotions. It's like the poles of a magnet. And as you move through the videos and exercises, pay particular attention to the flavor of the tension in your spine, to the frequency of the sensation that you're working with, positive or negative. Chances are that your problem involves at least 2 of these movement categories, depending on the nature of your issue. You can't contract or expand or something. The only way to develop something is with experience, so we're going to start by finding the limits of your movement in the asana sequence to come. I want to invite you not to go past the boundaries of your movement, just to nudge close to them, and just pay really close attention to when comfort approaches pain, doesn't become pain. What you're looking for generally is a slight dull ache in the case of, say, a ruptured disc, for example. A pinched nerve that, when activated, sends hot pokers shooting through your body will have some serious fortifications around it, in the sense that the muscular system will actively try to defend you from this particular movement without your conscious consent. So that's what we want to sort of start getting rid of, is some of these over defenses. That's why you feel pain relief, because it hurts. So what I want you to do is to understand that where you can move without pain, and then we'll be able to explore a little bit more to find out where the danger zones are. And depending on the nature of your injuries, chances are they begin with the spine and how you move, how you hold yourself. And if you have a spinal injury, chances are this involves at least 2 limitations of the spinal movements associated, dependent on contraction, expansion, rotation, flexion, torsion. The only way to develop, my friend, something is with experience. So in the asana sequence to come, we're going to start out, again, by finding the limits of your movement. And again, this is a huge safety tip. When something becomes pain, you don't want to just go straight into that pain. When a certain focal point in your body is highlighted for attention, just stop. Give it the attention that it's asking for. So when your body is actually hurting, just stop and engage with it with the breath and gently. I'm going to cover this a little bit more in detail in the asana sequence to come, but first, hey, got a little bit of homework. So I want you to watch this video again at least once before moving on to the next, and to do the sequence to come a minimum of 3 times a day before you move on to the next. And once you can do it all in a smooth, continuous flow, feel free to move on to the next video. Now, if you have a serious injury, you might want to take a couple extra days, maybe even up to a week even while doing this. Don't feel bad about how long this takes. Everybody's body is different. So again, 3 times over the next day, take 5 to 10 minutes out of your day. Run through the sequence, paying particular attention to the transitions between the postures, allowing your breath to maintain a smooth, even, continuous flow of deep and long breaths. You might find that you need to rotate your shoulders or twist your hips to avoid pain when standing up in base, for example, or that you can only twist so far. Maybe as you stand, your mid-back is tensed. And when you notice something like this, when you notice this sort of tension, I want you to freeze, and then slowly to work with the movement and find the limits of the available movement that are there. Not in that particular space of pain, but around it. And then ask yourself, inquire, be curious. Hey, why am I moving like this? Where else can I move? What pain, tightness, tension, or whatever? What am I letting guide my movement so far? And further, is this what I want? Because maybe the pain is good where it is for now. Maybe your body's still really healing. On the other hand, maybe it's just muscular tension and it's conditioned responses. You got to explore for yourself. The body can rapidly become conditioned to react with overwhelming force when we fear pain or hurt in some way. So is whatever you're feeling, is this an overreaction? Do you have more freedom than you thought? Go through the entirety of the sequence with this in mind. Treat this with sincere and genuine intention. And with regards to the asana sequence, this is simple stuff. This is sitting down, standing up, twisting. Don't let pride get in the way of actually understanding your spine. Take it slow, take it easy. You're looking for about 5-10 breaths within each pose and transitioning within 1 or 2 breaths. So remember, we're setting the foundation for much more advanced capabilities later on. So don't rush. Allow yourself to appreciate and enjoy the subtle joys of relaxation. This is where happiness and ease and effort come, and effortless flow comes from. So in today's asana sequence, this is twisting and bending. This first sequence is it's just a check-in, but again, approach it with sincere desire. We will increase rapidly from here. As you move forward through the videos and exercises in these asana courses, I want you to pay really, really close attention to your spine, to the frequency of the psycho-emotional sensations that you're dealing with. Compare your movement with the state of the previous exercise and start connecting the dots between these. Just bring them to awareness. Don't worry too much about making it sense in your head. Just do the practice. And observe. Hey, as you untwist, are you feeling a release of deeply held pressure? Observe, note what comes up. And as we move into the first practical application, remember, take things at your own pace. There's no rush. I'm moving fast right now just so that we can get you to the good stuff. The most common mistake that people make when beginning to develop a working, deep level understanding of their body-mind system is, after all, forgetting to breathe. So remember Ujjayi breath. Keep the ocean sounding breath active throughout the practice. Cover if you don't get it, watch the last video. Covered it there in detail. In the interest in brevity and ease of understanding, an in-depth review of each asana is found within the Horizontal Path, which is a comprehensive guidebook which provides step-by-step review of the method, the associated benefits, the precautions, the questions for guided reflections. This will be made available on freeformgroup.org, as well as conditioning and any other of our books and our products, 21 Conscious Days Redesign. And I highly encourage you to check these out as they're released. And I wish you the absolute best, that you have a beautiful, happy day, that you really enjoy this asana sequence to come, and make sure to try and engage with some of our other products. We're trying to make as much of this available as possible to you. Some of this good knowledge that can really transform lives. So again, my friend, thank you very much. I love you. I'll see you in the mat.